Okay people, I thought I'd do just a little bit of a drive around video, nothing too exciting. I just thought I'd do a little bit of a drive around Connah. Got a couple of comments recently on people saying, oh, it was nice to see the town. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a drive around the place. I'm not going to go miles and miles and miles, so if you're not really interested in Connah, this isn't one for you probably. Heading up Galton Lane here. Now for some of you it's changed a great deal down this lane, because I mean when I was a kid the high school was here and there was a few houses going up to, I think it was Viking Way, and that was it. You have to excuse the noise, this car hates speed bumps. You got the old farm there on the left, that was still a farm until the 80s I think it was, and then that become the Sir Gawain Sam Smith's pub some point in the 80s. These houses on the left here are I think 90s, I think. Similar for these on the right as well. A few of these housing estates kind of popped up in the late 80s and throughout the 1990s. As you can hear, the car loves these speed bumps. It has just been for an MOT and they haven't noticed anything wrong with the springs, etc. So I think it's just a plastic plate that's holding that down. They seem to put plastic plates on these darn things these days. Yeah, so back in the olden days he says, in the 80s, this pretty much was where the houses came up to, Viking Way on the left here. And that was it then, it was fields and they were full of blackberries. I know because I used to go and pick them. None of these houses, these bungalows, etc. existed. Highmere here on the right didn't exist. High Vale and all that didn't exist. But a little further up here, we've now got the Morrison's complex, and that was where you used to have your quick save. That used to be based up here on the top, on the hill here on the right. It's a slightly different layout. They have redesigned the inside of that area a little, but that was where your quick save used to be. This land on the left here, Barmouth Close, I think the church owns it. That's what I've heard, because it's never been built on. And when I asked about it in the past, people said, oh, the church owned that land. So whether that's correct or not, I don't know. But that's the tale I've heard. That's it, so that's one batch of speed bumps out the way. This used to just come out onto Mould Road. I think at one point, many years ago, this was the only way you could get to Quick Save up Mould Road, because I don't think Galton Lane went all the way up. I think that is the case. Mould Road, obviously, back in up until the 60s, I think it was, had the Mould to Denbigh railway line. I think it was mainly used for freight. I don't think it was passengers. They used to go down to the docks. I'm just going to nip down Merlin Avenue here now. Just pop up Wharfdale Avenue. Just nipping around a couple of places I haven't been to for quite some time. Some of these are a bit unfamiliar to me, to be perfectly honest. Cairndale Avenue. I mean, I've been up and down these roads over the years, visiting friends and what have you. But they're not places that I generally used to come as a kid. I used to hang around places like Englefield, St Mark's, Redhall, that sort of area. And it was all, well, reasonably new back then, you know. It'd been around a bit, but it wasn't classed as, it was more of the newish estate back then. You know, it'd been there about 20 years or so. And there we have the field that used to lead down to the likes of St Mark's and what have you, but there's a bit of a housing estate in the middle of it now. There used to be council garages, but Flintshire County Council over the years has pretty much decimated their stock of council garages. I would say it's probably gone down by about 80%, if not more. Just flash this chap out. Which is a shame, really, because the proliferation of cars these days, you'd have thought they'd be making an absolute killing. I rent two for a start, you know, and they're like 50 quid a month each. And they don't really do much to them. One of them I was renting had half a door, so I eventually got rid of that one. Have a quick wander down here. Then perhaps spin and nip down to Redhall area. Now some of these are older bungalows, but I mean you're still only talking probably 1960s, something like that. Is that a real cat or is it a pot cat? That's a real cat. Isn't he a pretty cat? No, don't worry, cat, I'm not going to come near you. Thought it was a porcelain cat or something, that then. Lovely colours. Probably out here, we're keeping an eye on those pigeons. Right, so we're heading back into more familiar territory now for me. I'll take a left turn here. The Polio hospital used to be up here on the right. It was just at the top of St Mark's Avenue, so pretty much where these houses on the right are, there was a polio hospital. And my nan, when my uncle was little, back in the late 50s, early 60s, used to go mad and say, don't go playing up at the polio hospital, because she was always worried he might catch polio or something. There's loads of broken glass up there, he said. I'm just going to nip in here just because it's interesting to me, because this is the council garages. It's obviously not, but this was the council garages when I was growing up. And nowadays it looks as though it's been turned into housing. I mean, they've been here for a little while now, these houses. I think, I'm only guessing, but I'd say about 8 years, something like that. Might be longer, I could be wrong. But they were the council garages. I used to walk through here to go to the shop to get me sweets, and there is still a little run through there. And also the council garages again, where we used to go and kick a ball, were just across the road here. Just make sure there's nothing coming. On the left hand side here, where there's a couple of houses now, there were council garages there too, once upon a time. Now I haven't been down Summersville for many years, so I'm going to have a nose down here. I used to come and call for my friends here. Remember his granddad, he had a Mark II Ford Escort. Will I be able to turn round here? Am I doing something foolish? Yeah, I think I can at the top. But I haven't been down Summersville, goodness me, for a long time. But the the way through from the garage is just where that pussycat is now. In fact, he's off to the garages, look. Well, he won't find any there. There's houses there now instead, puss. Well, that's where the garages used to be. It's changed a bit from what I remember, because there was a lot more people with gardens rather than car parks for a garden, do you know what I mean? But again, there's a lot more cars here now than there were when I was a kid. I think over the years, the amount of cars that we use here in the UK has just blossomed substantially, you know. So the world and his dog have all got a car or two each. I can't talk. But yeah, it's been a great proliferation of vehicles. I don't know what's going to happen when we start turning into electric cars, because the batteries on them are expensive to fix, and our people who haven't got much money ain't going to be able to afford to keep on the road. Unfair as it is, you know. I don't know. Excuse me, Mr. Pigeon, I want to go down Deaver Avenue. That's it. Let's have a... make sure there's nothing coming. Nope. Yeah, I'm recording the audio externally on this. I haven't done it before, so hopefully I get it right. Because all you'll get off the camera is loads of loud wind noise, howling and crashing and what have you. I'm going to head down towards the shops now. These speed bumps I find are a bit better than the ones on Golfton. Sometimes you have to go down the middle of them because there's cars parked, you know. But when you do go over them properly, then they're not quite as harsh, I don't find, as the ones down Golfton. But the ones in Golfton are quite old. So I'll go over one, and this is one of the harshest ones, really. See, it's not quite as bad. The others are like bang. Our Red Hall garage, long gone. The Red Hall pub's still going, and the shops are still there as well. Bit of a bump here too. Linfield Close, that's been there for quite a long time as well. It's alright, mate, you come on through. Dog out for his walk. We'll turn into Willow Crescent. Now see straight ahead there, see that white and black building? That intrigued me because I didn't realise it was there until my friend said about the old, what he calls the old farmhouse. Now I don't know if it is the old farmhouse, it may be, but that is an interesting building, because I think that's probably the only original building in this whole circle here, really, because all of these are 60s, 50s, 60s buildings, but that place is old. Just on the left now, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, to be honest, but it's just there. Interesting. Now there used to be, in this area here, a bridge that the railway went over, because across the road there's the remnants of it. I think the bridge was about here, because you can see some of the brick. I have been there in the past with Anne-Marie in the car, and I did do a little bit of filming there. I just thought I'd show you that building, because I think that's interesting. In fact, some of you probably know a lot more about it than I will. I didn't know it existed until about a year or two ago. Wirral View. Well, to be honest with you, I don't think you're going to get much of a Wirral View from here these days. Perhaps many years ago you might have done. The Wirral is basically where the car's pointing now. It's over there. It's a nip on out. Dog out for his walk, or her walk. There's always been an unusual little bit of space here as well. I don't know, I wonder if that's where the line came in, perhaps, on the left there. That bit of land has always been, since I was a kid at least, empty, you know. Never seems to have been used for anything. I'll head down towards Weppaway. Crow doing a flyby. Right, let this lady out. Should have a look up there. Why not, eh? Another one that I've passed many, many times, but I'm not overly familiar with, is Normandy Drive. Close. I take my time, because you never know if there's a little kid gonna run out, or a cat or dog or something. These narrow little streets, at least mostly down here, you've got houses that have got big driveways, so the cars are generally parked on the driveways down there. Perhaps not so much here. Don't know why, because they've still got big driveways, most of these houses, but lucky. This was known as Oil Hill. But I'm not overly familiar with the area, I must admit. I know you can get to Cliveden Road and what have you down here. Bodnant Grove. Still nothing coming, is that? Nope. You can have a quick nose, if you like, at the new area, the Badger's Walk area, which, to me is about half an hour old. It's probably about 25 years old now, or something, maybe even 30, but it still feels like it's about a week old to me. At Cliveden Road now. Let's skip back onto Mold Road and have a look up at Badger's Walk, shall we? Now this, when I was a kid, was the farm. I'm pretty sure the milkman used to come from up here. Was it Broad Oak Farm? Am I going mad? Hollowbrook Drive. There's an awfully nice walk down here if you're in the area, and it follows the old Buckley line, and it's on the right hand side there. Some of the cars park here. I don't know how busy it gets. The couple of times that I've been, it's been reasonably peaceful, but on the right hand side there's public footpath, and that leads down into the old Buckley line basically. But this is the farm basically. This used to be the farm. Farmer sold the land, and a huge, absolutely ginormous, as you can see, housing estate was built on the land. The cows were kicked out and the houses moved in. But it has been here now for, crikey, 1990s it must be. Late 80s maybe even. It's a long time though, I know that much. There are some areas up here where you get a really nice view. I think if you carry on round, I mean, to some of you this might be the place where you grew up, you know. I don't know. To me this is half an hour old, but to you it might be your childhood home, and you're 30 now, you know. Again, it looks as though it was designed with vehicles in mind, because most of these places have got driveways and what have you. But see, you get quite a nice view from up here. It's pretty much where that van is, really. Over the fence there, you get a lovely view of the area. I don't know if the camera will pick up, maybe a little, perhaps when we go around the bend. Might get a little bit of sense of it. See? Now what I wanted to do one year was nip up here and on bonfire night, because I thought you get quite a good view of the fireworks going off all over the place, you know. Now I think, is this it? It does come to an end in a second, and I think this might be it. Yeah, this is the end here. I've not been down this one before, I don't think, at least. Ford Kimberly or whatever it's called. And again, I think it might be a dead end, this one, so I might have to turn round. It's got the dead end sign faded at the end of the signpost. Whether it's incorrect and you can get through, I don't know. I don't know this place very, very well, I must admit. What do you think? Do you reckon we can get out? Or do you think it's a turn round job? No, I think it's a turn round job, isn't it? But there you have it. That's the housing estate. See what I mean about it being massive? And this was your Broad Oak farm for your milk. Some nice houses here, though, aren't there? You're all kind of crammed on top of each other, though. It's one of the only things with the UK. You're all sort of, you know, a hair's breadth from each other. Even though you've got like a big, expensive detached house, you can probably hear the other people breathing next door because you're so close to each other. When you look at some of the houses in the big countries like America, where you've got, you know, a decent bit of distance between each other, But then there seems to be a trade-off, because quite a lot of the houses over there seem to be made out of wood. At least the ones I've seen on the telly, anyway. Yeah, so there's a little walk at the end there as well on the left. I think that lady's probably taking her dog down there for a little bit of a walk. But again, if it's of interest to you, then this is Hillsdown Drive, apparently. I didn't know the name of the place, just seen it on there. Quay Valley, there is like a little wood on the left there as well. Quay, is it? Quay. Isn't Clow Lion? So we'll head back into the old part of the quay. I'm sure a few of you have got tales about the old farm up here. Always welcome to stick comments down about the areas I've passed, or bits I might have missed or got wrong, or whatever, you know. I don't profess to be an expert by any means, just make observations as I go along through life. Now, I can't remember, but is Broad Oak Farm, is that the one that used to be run by Ernie, the milkman? It might be, I'm not sure. Some of you guys might remember Ernie. He used to be Connah's milkman for many, many years. He used to always deliver the milk up to us in St Mark's Avenue. Ernie. And he was around when that record came out by Benny Hill. He drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Right, it's a whole fire here because stuff likes to fly down this bit here at about 70 miles an hour at times, and it is in the 30 limit now, this bit. 30 limit used to start about halfway down Mold Road, now it's halfway to Mold, I think. Alright, after that little detour, let's try have a quick nose at Wepa, maybe. I won't stay out too much longer, just capturing a few places that I've not visited, or not visited a lot, or maybe of some interest to some people. Maybe. Yeah, it's just on the right there. If you turn down on the right there, past that house, there's a piece of wall that remains that was part, I think, of the bridge that went over the road. Used to be a roundhouse down here as well. I'm sure some of the older residents will remember the roundhouse that used to be here back in the day. If we head down here, we'll come to Wepper Park in a minute. Past the old lodge. And past Wepper Villa. Wepper Villa is a care home now. It has been for a great many years. Oh, don't worry kids, I'm not going to run you over. There's Wepper Villa now on the right hand side. Like I say, it's been a care home there for many, many years. I have been up there before, up towards Pen-y-Stryd and what have you, so there probably is a video that I've done previously. And Wepper, I've got plenty of videos on Wepper, so go and have a look if you want. Henley Avenue. I think, is it Marlow Avenue next, is it? Or is that the next one again? Marlow, yeah. Some lovely houses up Wepper. It's quite a nice place to live as well. It's a pretty busy road though. You know, there's always something coming up or down here. I've got 2 cars behind me. And this is a fairly quiet time, you know. And the road is starting to fill up with cars parked up on the path and things. And these are houses with driveways, so it just shows you the amount of vehicles that we're using these days. I'll do a quick circle if I can of the council office complex because that's gone, but it'll just show people what still exists. Tempted to go down Mill Lane there, but I'm not quite sure how bad it is for reversing if because you can only go down a very short distance. I can nip over here because it's only one way this road. There's the library, and that is now pretty much the council offices as well. The abandoned Gateways vehicle building is in front of us, and used to be the council offices there, but they've gone. Swimming baths in front of us. The junior pool is straight ahead there, but also now, if I twirl around a little, this is where the job centre lives. So if you're unfortunate enough to have to deal with them, then there's your place. Now, junior pool is just past that porter cabin. I haven't been in there for about 30 years, so memory's getting a bit rubbish, but it's through there, the junior pool. The Civic Hall up here, place where you used to get bands playing music and what have you many years ago, but it was used as the COVID centre for quite some time, and I think that is now closed because most of them have. Have all of them gone now? I think they may have done. The COVID test centres. I don't even think are there any of the vaccination centres remaining, or have they all gone too? Got this red brick house here, and then next to it is a white building. The camera might not be able to pick up because of the angle I'm on, but that used to be the home of Miss Dr. Gavin, the famous Connah doctor family who were around for many years. Irwin's Cash and Carry or Motor World passed there the other day. Mr. Davis Funeral Directors has been there for a number of years. I think the Tree Place has now, to be fair. Used to be the Woolly Worm on the right, that's gone. Wilton's Fruit and Veg is gone. Isn't that sad? That's been there forever, that. It's good. All of these buildings are going to flash past too quickly for me to mention them, but I have done videos where I'm walking, chatting about these. The only sacrilegious one really is the church here on the right-hand side that's gone. The Quay church with the big steeple. It needed money to stay running because the steeple was damaged or collapsing, and obviously they weren't able to get the cash, so they pulled it down. Isn't that terrible? The dairy was here, smashed up for years on the right hand side. That it's only in probably the last 5 years, maybe less, that building complex has cropped up. Pop down Pen-y-Stryd, Dodge Drive. Dare I chance it? The amount of vehicles that come up and down here, and the amount of vehicles that are parked up, make it a pesky trip. Now, I used to live down here, and there were pretty much no cars virtually here then. I remember one on that corner there was a Mark III Ford Cortina. Proper Sweeney mobile, you know. There was nothing here. This row of cars here, there was virtually maybe one car if you were lucky. And the gap there used to go down to Sammy Dick's sweet shop. Turn on up into Printer Street at the top. Again, make sure there's nothing coming. I can't see very well on the right. I'll take my time here. And look at that. There's about 3 cars coming, so that was wise to take me time. Because look at all the cars here. You're doomed, aren't you, really, if you want to get past. You got the Navy Club. Bottom, there's a footy match going on there. I'm probably gonna nip back up this way, but let's head on down and have a look at the bottom here. Because you had things like Railway Terrace and what have you. Here there's a van coming, so I'll let him get past first. This was the Kingdom Hall until quite recently, really. You got Bethel Place, the flats. Car park for CAHA residents only, including Allen Housing Association. Snip up. Central Park, this is known as now. Well, this was the tip. Now, if you do have a route online, you will be able to find a video. Now, I don't know if it's on Facebook or if it's on YouTube or what, but there is definitely a video of the tramps that lived in on the tip many years ago. This is Railway Terrace. The trains used to go flying past here. It wasn't all wide like it is here. And there you've got the Royal Welsh Fusiliers building as well. 1936. And that was Jim Sull's offices for a while, the building company. And then when he sold it, being in the building industry, he sold it for housing. They built like little apartment things there now. Maximising profits. Wise man, I suppose. It's got Libby's Cafe on the top. I'm pretty sure it's the CAB here now. And the cricket club as well. There's the cricket pitch. Warning, chemically treated grass. Keep dogs off the pitch. And there's the cricket club. These have all been here for a number of years. I mean, this place hasn't been a tip since about 1963 or something, or maybe a little bit later, but it's not been a tip for quite a number of years. And these buildings that are upon it now have been on there for, again, quite a number of years, you know. Little community centre. I think it seems to be used as a nursery these days, I think, but I don't know if that's a permanent thing or what. I'm not sure. Head on back up the hill now if you can get out here safely. And these short videos are still about 40 minutes long, probably longer. There are some photos I've seen online of this area too. Top end, just going around the corner there, for example. I think it's got the bungalows when they were very first built, or when they weren't that old, you know. Heading down towards Brindeva and what have you. Brindeva does still exist. A lot of the pubs up around here have died though. The Red Hall still is ongoing, but the Hare and Hounds, that's recently died. That's gone, housing. The Boathouse has recently shut down. And the Custom House, they did try reopening it and saving it, but that also didn't go too well, sadly. I'll just nip to Red Hall Shops, do like a bit of a spin round, and then head down back towards Brim Road and kind of call it quits then, probably. These are shops. You got a Morrison's Local now. Used to be the Co-op. Hair Crazy and Beauty, and a beauty studio boutique place. Every time I come past here, the shops are shut, but it's because of the timing, really. I think if you come here on a normal weekday, then you'll find most of these are open. The Red Hall Garage at the top now delivers breakfast. I mean, you can collect them at the place. It's called Sunrise Breakfast. And they do breakfast delivery, so if you want a full English or whatever, you want to sit in the house and you can't be bothered going to get it, they deliver it for you. Just passing Brindeva. There we go, three-way lights. There we are. slalom. You got Brim Road then, the cemetery. Steelworks ahead, if you can see it in the distance there. I'll probably call it quits there, guys, because I was only going to do a short one, really. And some of the places that I haven't visited today, I probably have visited on other videos, you know. There's the flats. I can't remember places like Union Street and what have you, and Waterloo Street, because the flats have been built by the time I come along. There was a shop on the corner on the left here. I do remember the house there on the right hand side. That was there until probably the late 1990s, early 2000s. There was a chemist on the right here too, but he got busted for selling stuff that he shouldn't, so that was closed. But anyway, I digress. I will catch you all very soon.